All right, welcome back from that short break. Joining me this evening to take a look at some of these interesting sporting stories that we have for you this weekend is Basi Ibiatisoko. He's a renowned sports journalist based in the city of Uyo. Mr. Basi, good evening and welcome to Sport Extra on Atlantic Television Network.
Thank you very much. It's nice always being here to talk sports, and of course, especially today, Rivers United.
All right, let's get started from the world of basketball because I can tell you, Basi, that Rivers State has been elected to host the Men's Basketball League final, and this is the second or third consecutive time that Rivers State has been selected by the Nigerian Basketball Federation to host the final phase of the basketball championship right here in Nigeria. What do you make of the dominant force of Rivers State when you talk about basketball, Basi, and the nods that they are always getting in the last 2-3 years to host these major events?
Well, I think it's commendable. Rivers State sometimes now showing capacity when it comes to, diversifying away from football. In football, they're doing great. But another sport that has really announced the name of Rivers State nationally and internationally is the game of basketball. And of course, you cannot erase the name Rivers Sopas away from basketball in Nigeria. So I'm not surprised. Beginning to look like Rivers State is the home of basketball in Nigeria. They have done great. Of course, it deservedly so, because kudos will be given to the sports commissioner, Green, and the rest of the other members of its management team, clinical team, and of course, especially Basketball Association in Rivers State, Rivers Sopas management, for putting the name of the state on a map when it comes to basketball. So I'm not surprised that back-to-back Rivers State, has been selected to be the host of the men's basketball final. And of course, you cannot forget that for now, the NDBF had already announced that states that qualified for, or teams that qualified for the final 8 should indicate interest to host that particular competition, the final 8 and final 4. But at the end of the day, it was still Rivers Sopas who indicated interest, just like they did before now, to make sure that they host. And of course, the last time they hosted, it was a fine host. We did well, Rivers State. And so this time around, why not? It's good enough that they've also been given the opportunity to host, the final leg of this men's basketball competition. So it's good, and kudos was given to everyone that has contributed in making Rivers State the home of basketball in Nigeria.
All right, still talking about Rivers State, what do you think that is going to be the benefit of Rivers State hosting this final phase of the basketball, in case some of those who will be asking what is so special about state being selected to host the final phase of such a major championship? What will Rivers State stand to gain from this?
Well, first of all, you talk about the facilities. There will be great facelift for the facilities, because you have to get, some of those courts ready, and so it means that year in, year out, this regular maintenance culture when it comes to Rivers State, maintaining their basketball court, and you cannot host a final like this without seeing a touch against what you already had to make sure you enhance, those courts. So I think that will be the very first benefit of, having this after the competition. You have good courts, to still practice and prepare teams, younger players who eventually become big boys later on. And then you're talking about the name of Rivers State, being here. I told someone the other time, just for instance now, the entire nation, I'm not sure there's any sports competition, there's any sports program in Nigeria between today and tomorrow, and maybe throughout the competition. I will not be talking about Rivers State. I will not be talking about Port Harcourt, from the north to the south, east and west. And so these are the benefits you have, because everywhere, every sports show in the nation will be talking about that competition, and they cannot, sports are hosted in cities, and so there is no way you can talk about a sport without talking about the city of Port Harcourt. Will have this mentioned everywhere. And then you're talking about business side of sports now. Hotels will be booked. Talking about the local economy being stirred up because the players coming in will definitely eat food. They will definitely buy things. They will definitely invest some money into the local economy. So the local economy will also get some boost. Hotels, accommodation, and transportation will also. So it's a win-win situation. While the River State government is supporting, sponsoring this, maybe providing some security, accommodation, and whatever they can provide, it will rub off on the local economy. So at the end of the day, that girl that sells bottled water, the other one, the woman that sells food, the other one that sells it, everyone gets to benefit from the fact that River State or Port is going to be hosting this. So I think it's a great benefit. We have opportunity many times to host competitions here, to host the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And I can tell you that the weekend where the Super Eagles come here to play, almost all the hotels in the world are shut down, fully booked. So that's a plus for the businessmen and women, for hoteliers and other businesses around. So I think that's going to be the same thing for River State, like almost especially in the next couple of days where the final of the men's basketball competition will be taking place.
All right, still talking about basketball, Basi. It's been a worrisome situation for the Nigerian Basketball Federation in the past few months because the infighting has not allowed basketball to get to the height that so many expected. And when you talk about this senior male team, talking about the D Tigers, it has been a very difficult years for them so far because of the leadership tussle. What do you make of the Nigerian Basketball Federation in the last 2 years?
Well, it's sad. Sad, there's a popular scripture in the Bible that says, "The house that is divided cannot stand." They're talking about basketball that's been divided for past 3 years, up to 4 years now. Musa Kida faction and this other one fighting and causing a lot of problems. At the end of the day, it's not about the two men fighting. The consequence is always about the country. The fact that we fail to grab the opportunities that are coming in, sometimes sanctions threatened by FIBA because of maybe interference from the government and some of those things that we're not supposed to be doing. When it comes to Africa, we are a big basketball nation. Talk about the D Tigers and the great things they've been able to do. And even the D Tigers, at some point they still push their luck and of course go far. But they realize that ever since we started having this fighting, we started having this trouble affecting a lot of basketball, it's been from one problem to another, leadership, factional issues and all of those things. There is no way basketball can grow in the pace that it should have grown if these fightings were not there. Sometimes I wish our leaders can look beyond their ambition. I wish they can look beyond their personal interest. We're talking about a period of 4 years, 5 years, and you're up the saddle. But what happens to basketball? You must have succeeded because of your fighting to destroy that beautiful game. We're not talking about even taking these sports back to the secondary school, to the grassroots, to see how to develop it. You look at our national teams populated by those who were not made by our system. They're not made by our system because these people were made by systems that are working, and we only go to loan them to bring them back because they have the name or they are Nigerians, which they were not trained yet. They didn't benefit from the programs yet. So ours is not for us to just fight. What have we done to develop local talent? Fighting and causing problems do not allow. So we still have to be running around the entire world looking for who is answering Gossi that was doing very well, who is answering Kelechi that is doing very well, and then we try to bring these people back. But what happens is we try to develop our own and use them. And so those are the consequences of the infighting that we have in the NDP. It does not give an atmosphere for development. So that's why we keep running around to most of these people that we train in Europe, in America, and the rest of the place to come and help us play basketball. Meanwhile, we have thousands, if not millions of talents scattered everywhere in secondary school, in university. There is no leadership because the leaders are fighting personal interests. So that's the problem, and that's what we keep suffering in this country.
It's a very big challenge, just like Basi posited, that the house divided against itself will not stand. It's more like the situation with the Nigerian Basketball Federation because of the in-house fighting, and it has lingered, up till date. And we thought maybe the coming in of the National Sports Commission under the leadership of Malam Shehu Diko and Bukola Olakpade were going to ensure that they resolve that issue. But we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how that, this infighting will be laid to rest so that we can have a progression in terms of basketball. Away from that, let's talk rugby on the show this evening, because the Nigerian women's rugby team, known as the Green Falcons, reached the final of the International Rugby League World Series after defeating Ireland 10-0 in the semi-final. They will now face Fiji in the final come Sunday at the Fox Stadium in Brampton, that is in Canada. The winner of this match will now qualify for the 2026 Rugby World Cup. Impressive feat for Team Nigeria Basi in the world of rugby. Not one of the popular sports right here in the country, but then it looks as though we are making a giant stride.
Yeah, congratulations to the Green Eagles, the Green Falcons. These are the kind of stories and the kind of reports you want to be getting. When you have a federation that is focused, when you have a federation that is stabilized, you definitely give them a time, just a moment, and then they'll get to achieve a lot. Rugby, just like you said, has not been a very popular sport in Nigeria. They've been climbing the ladder steadily, persistently. They've been going, and there's a saying I said that perseverance is success. And I think they've persevered for a very long time, and that's why we're beginning to see the fruits of those of that perseverance beginning to come in now. This is the first time we're having a team get to this point, and of course, they happen to beat Fiji in the final, to be the very first time an African side has ever won that. So they're just a game away from history. And I hope that history will be kind to them, that the game tomorrow, when they get to play, will be in their favor so that they can win. It's not going to be an easy task, but of course, if you're able to beat Ireland, that's not an easy task for them as well. They put in everything and they're able to come out successfully. For Fiji, they defeated the host nation, Canada, so you can also put them aside. You also have to know that you're going to face a very strong side. Currently, I think they are ranked 14 in the world. The last time they got to the World Cup, they finished at the group stage, so it's also a very strong side. But I believe our girls have shown lots of promise, and having got this far, they will not want to just leave it. We want to fight to finish. And so from this side, we can only wish them all the very best. If they get to win this, you can only imagine what the future of rugby will be in Nigeria. Because people will have come back again and said, okay, if we are able to have a team that can go all the way to win this series, we should, give a little bit of attention to rugby. And you don't know, you cannot tell what this victory means. So the victory is very important because it will determine if rugby will grow beyond the stage we are seeing now in Nigeria, or people will say, okay, it's rugby, so let's just forget about it. So a lot hangs on this, and I wish the girls all the best. I hope they can win this, make history as the first team in Africa, and also give people the reason to look away from football and think rugby. And can also invest in rugby, and then hopefully we can also become a great rugby nation in the few years to come.
Massive one, I would say a very big congratulations to the Nigerian rugby team about to keep a date with history. If they get to, of course, win that particular one, they will be qualifying for the 2026 Rugby World Cup, and it's going to be a massive feat for Team Nigeria rugby team. Just like you heard from Basi, this is one of the sporting federation right here in the country that has been doing a lot, working around the clock to ensure that at least there is progress in terms of their administrative angle. They've been very consistent, I can tell you that for sure. So we say once again, a big congratulations and wish them all the best. But let's talk about the UFC. Basi, I can tell you that Israel Adesanya, the last tie bender, has dropped down the pecking orders in terms of the ranking. He's out of the top 5 as we speak right now, and he's lost to some big names like Dricus Duplessis, to mention but a few, has further not helped him at all. What do you make of Israel Adesanya? There are so many calls from, different quarters for him to, of course, retire. Do you think it's time for him to retire, or you think that he still have more something to prove in the world of the UFC?
Yeah, I think so. I think he still has something to do. He can reinvent himself. Yes, the results has not been in his favor. Fights has not really been in his favor lately. But I think it's just a moment. It's sports, and in sports, people would say in sports that form is not permanent. Form comes and goes, and then all you need to do is just to be focused and continue putting in the hard work. When you continue putting in the hard work, definitely you bounce back. For me, I think the style bender still has a future. He still has a future in UFC. All he needs to do, maybe take a break if you need to, take a break and then go see how to reinvent yourself. Hit the gym, go back to training full time. And of course, you also have to agree with me that lately Israel Adesanya has had lots of distraction of the UFC ring now.
True.
A lot of things on the side that has been taking his attention, relationship and all of those things. So he needs to dust all of this off, all these mental and psychological issues, and see how to, emotional issues as well, and see how to get back to the sports that brought him fame. I remember back in, between 2019 and 2022, he was able to defend about 6 titles. Then when he came into the limelight, of course, he was dreaded by every fighter. He was dreaded. He did his stuff, earned so much money. Sometimes you can also say money is a big distraction.
True.
So when the big monies are coming in and they're thinking that you've arrived, you're no longer going to the gym, you're no longer committed as you used to be. These are the problems that you start having because, talent, like I always say, is not enough. If you don't work hard work will always be talent. And so you can agree with me that maybe some of the fighters that are now beating Israel Adesanya are now putting in more work than Israel Adesanya is putting in. So if you don't put a lot of work, this is what you get. But for me, I still believe that the style bender can bounce back, get back to himself, and then still, win the stuff when it comes to UFC.
All right, we'll keep our fingers crossed, hoping to see Israel Adesanya bounce back to winning ways and rediscover his magical mojo. But I can tell you for sure that by now, it's gradually dropping down the pecking order in terms of the ranking. But Bassey, there's some disturbing news coming in from the world of the NBA. A few days ago, we heard that some players had been fingered to be involved in betting, issues as players and coaches try to influence the outcome of a game just to make sure that the white paper stuff, for those who play it, understand what I mean, for their tickets to play. Some key players in the NBA and coaches were, fingered to be involved. As the story reports that some key players feign injury just to make sure that they don't complete a match, so that they will get to lose, so that some persons that, play the gambling can get to, win. What do you make of that disturbing stories? NBA, talking about basketball, is one of the major sports. In fact, it is the major sport in the United States of America. When this kind of issue begin to revolve around their biggest sporting event, it calls for worry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's worrisome. It's worrisome, but I don't know why I'm even surprised when I saw that story because these things happen in all sports. We need to, say it happens in all sports. It's just that it's an unfortunate thing, and it's something that should be fought against because it deprives the sport and the outcome of what he's supposed to be. If it's the fans that are into the betting, it shouldn't be the actors themselves because you cannot be the one who's playing and the one who is betting. Sometimes even betting against your team and then feigning injury or causing some of these allowing some goals to come in or some balls to be netted just because you are betting. So it's very unfortunate. We must also give kudos to the security and of course the administrators of the NBA for fishing out these players quite early enough and seeing how to sanction them. It's worrisome, it's worrisome that it is what it is, and of course we only hope that this will be a way of trying to sanitize NBA so that, and of course, a deterrent to other players and coaches so that it do not go the way the other, big players have gone. I saw some names. I was kind of disappointed, but that's how it is. And, it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate indeed that some big name players have been fingered, yes, to be involved in match betting scandals. And of course, it's not a good one for the NBA because this is, their greatest sporting activity. In fact, they value the NBA more than soccer, as they call it over there. We call it football here. Coaches as well also involved. Very disturbing stories. And the FBI have waded into action to sniff their nose and see how to comb that area and fish out dues that are involved so that they can face the wrath of the law. And of course, just like Basi said, if this happens, it's going to be more like a deterrent, a warning signals to some other players. Not a good one for the world of sport generally. But at this point, let's take a quick break from the non-footballing stories. When we are back in the second half of the show, we dive straight to the world of football. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked here on Atlantic, television network. I'll be back in a jiffy. Let's talk about, CAF nominees, Basi, because Victor James Osimhen will do battle against Mo Salah, Achraf Hakimi, and other players. Talking about the Player of the Year award, as has been listed by CAF. With the exploit and prowess of Victor Osimhen for Galatasaray last season, he scored about 37 goals, thereabout, won 2 major trophy. Do you think that he stands any chance at all against Mo Salah or even Achraf Hakimi and others that have been nominated for this award?
Well, he stands the best chance for me. I'm not talking because he's a Nigerian or he's my countryman. We're talking about current form and what he's bringing to the table. Victor Osimhen he stands tall above every other nominee at the moment, and I would be very shocked and surprised if he doesn't go back on that particular award, because it's an award for the best player, and of course he's proven that in country and for club side. When he left Italy, and people were thinking he was not going to pick his form back immediately, in Turkey, but he went to Turkey and immediately went there. He became the spectacle of everyone, scoring week in, week out, providing assists, taking Galatasaray to another level. Their fan base is swelling now across Africa and the entire world just because one man called Victor Osimhen accepted to go there. And so for me, I think he's done so much. Yeah, respect to other nominees, Mohamed Salah, Griff, Hakimi. But if you want to be fair, I think Law has said that Osimhen has done great, and I think the only thing we're waiting now for him not to be denied that award is next month, when we'll be having the intercontinental competition for the World Cup, because some may say, how can he be the best player in Africa and he failed to be at the next World Cup? But I'm sure that with what he has achieved so far, when the competition comes, just maybe we'll be lucky enough to get qualified through that route to the World Cup. And of course, once that qualification is sealed, I don't think there's any other argument that can come that Victor Osimhen doesn't deserve to be the best player in Africa.
All right, we hope that Victor Osimhen bring this one home, because it has been 2 years of dominance of Nigeria in terms of the CAF award. With the current holder, Lukman Ademola, who also did it, we won the last one, so we hope that Victor James Osimhen can be, picked for this one. But then I can tell you that he stands against a very tough challenge against the likes of Mo Salah, and of course Achraf Hakimi was so fantastic for the Paris Saint-Germain side last season, also helping them to win the French Ligue 1. Not also forgetting his heroics in the UEFA Champions League final. So that might possibly play major roles in those awards. But then let's head straight to Europe. Basi, I can tell you that Nuno Espirito Santo is under intense pressure after losing on Friday to Leeds United 2-1. For West Ham, it's been a very turbulent season for them since the start of this season. They are currently ranked 18th in the English Premier League table. What do you make of Nuno Espirito Santo with West Ham? It's been a very difficult one for him.
Yeah, score one for him. He came in just about a month ago. I think it was about 27th of September, thereabout, that he put pen to paper 3 years to sign as coach of the Nottingham Forest. But it's not been easy for him getting in right there. We're thinking that with all the experience he's got, he'll be able to, navigate the team out of the, murky water they found themselves. But things are even more difficult for him now. Losing just the last match, it's not good. And of course, he is a manager of a team that is owned by a man who doesn't love to lose, and a man who, whenever the managers don't do well or they sleep, he forgets every other thing they do. He doesn't have an owner doesn't have patience, with the manager. So it becomes difficult. Some will say, can you just give Nuno a little bit time? He's a coach with proven track record. Maybe he has a way of bringing, but some will say it's too early to contemplate sacking him. And of course, many managers will you sack in just how many months into the season. It becomes a difficult situation now. But these are also investors who want to see results for their investment. And so the owners of West Ham United or Nottingham Forest, they don't really want to, have a situation where they'll be having issues with, manager who's not performing very well. So I think that's the pressure he's in at the moment. I would also hope that he can get himself out of that particular situation.
All right, we hope that Nuno Espirito Santo can find his winning magic for West Ham, because I tell you, it's been a very difficult start to life at West Ham since he came on board. But let's head straight to the UEFA Champions League and survey some of the results in the midweek games, because Barcelona trashed Olympiacos 6-1, while PSV and Eindhoven beat Napoli 6-2. Newcastle United, they indeed united against Benfica to trash them 3-0. Arsenal smashed Atletico Madrid 4-0, while FC Copenhagen lost at home to Borussia Dortmund 4-2. Royal Union St. Galois also lost at home to Inter Milan, while Manchester City, the citizens, beat Villarreal 2-1. Paris Saint-Germain were so angry against Bayer Leverkusen, they had to trash Bayer Leverkusen 7-2 in a 9-goal thriller. Athletic Bilbao also beat Karabag 3-1, while Galatasaray beat Bodo Glimt 3-1 with a brace coming in from the boot of Victor Osimhen, while Monaco were held at home by Tottenham Hotspur 0. It ended. Sporting CP beat Olympique Marseille 2-1. Atalanta also played 0 against Slava Prague, while Chelsea smashed Ajax 5-1. Eintracht Frankfurt lost to Liverpool 5-1, while Bayern Munich continued their impressive start to the season with a 4-0 victory over Club Brugge. And the last game, we saw Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu, beat the old ladies, talking about Juventus 1-0. Basi, let me take you through the the happenings in the UEFA Champions League, especially that game that had to do with Arsenal and Atletico Madrid. That game in the first half, it was 0, but in the second half, with 15 or 20 minutes, Arsenal find their way to break the resolute defense of Atletico to smash them 4-0. Atletico Madrid, they are known for their doggedness in terms of defense, but then where did it all went wrong for the Diego Simeone's men after holding Arsenal to 0 in the first half?
I think recently, the last 3 years, Atletico Madrid has not been Atletico Madrid. We've not really seen them spark the way we used to see. Maybe it's a problem of the Spanish football, because Barcelona, they're also having the same issue as well as Real Madrid. Was I surprised? Yeah, I was surprised in the number of goals Arsenal scored, but I wasn't surprised Arsenal won Atletico Madrid, because this is an Arsenal side that, meant business. They've been coming very close to winning the Premier League. Unfortunately, they've had only one team that has been giving them trouble, and that is Manchester City the last 2-3 years. So last season, last summer, they were very intentional. They brought in some key players, into that squad, including Eze. Showing you that they mean business. They want to go all out to, see how they can try their luck this particular season again. And so I was excited when I saw the Gabriels who were in action and started getting the goals in. Gabriel, Vangalis, and of course Martinelli doing it. And of course, going on and on, and it was 4-0. But for me, I think the game that really caught my attention wasn't even about the Arsenal Atletico Madrid game. Yes, that was a fine win for them, but I think I was more concerned about PSV and Eindhoven trashing Napoli by 6-2. At the same time, Victor Osimhen was on fire for Galatasaray again. So these are tales of two ends, where you had to, because of issues, unresolvable issues, you had to let go of one of your key players, and now you have to pay heavily for it. You would have thought that a side like Napoli will lose in such a wide margin against PSV and Dortmund. So on the whole, it was a fantastic midweek of great football. action, and the score lines were just prolific. 7 goals, 6-1, 6-2, 4-2, 7-2, 4-0. It was so wide, and of course, it made it a rewarding one for the fans to watch and enjoy.
All right, the next game that I want us to, at least within 1 minute, take a look at is Bayern Munich. Vincent Kompany has penned down a contract extension, and he has started off the season on a 100% record. What do you make of Vincent Kompany? Before getting this job, nobody gave him a chance, to turn around things this way, though. Many will argue that the Bundesliga is more like a farmers' league, but then with the improved squad under Kompany, do you think that Vincent Kompany is going to stay long at Bayern Munich, considering how good he has been so far this season?
Well, we must give him kudos, whether it's a farmers' league or it's no farmers' league, whether it was in the NPFL. We need to commend Vincent Kompany. I think he's one of those very few ex-internationals who came into coaching less than 5 years after retirement, and of course they've been able to hold their own. Talk about very few like Xabi Alonso. Talk about Arteta, Mikel Arteta. Talk about Vincent Kompany. He's in that class of people who just came in and then he's doing great. Talk about Zinedine Zidane, the young players, the young coaches who came in, and of course they are doing well. Also know that there are others in that class who came in and they fell woefully. We want to talk about Wayne Rooney. We want to talk about others who came in and were unable to perform. So for Vincent Kompany, whatever he's doing at Bayern Munich now is commendable, because he's a player who understood the culture, and for him, he's a student of Pep Guardiola. He has always been a student of Pep Guardiola, learning from him, being very humble, to learn from him. So he's doing great. He's doing great and must be commended. And I think the players are also very comfortable having a young manager who understands what they are facing as footballers, and they are playing. Sometimes not really playing for anything. They're playing for the coach who really understands them and is doing good. And I think that's the mode that Vincent Kompany is. So I'm not surprised he's achieving what he's achieving. Last Champions League, they defeated Club Brugge by 4-0. That's no mean feat. Club Brugge is not a push cyclone from Belgium. Yes, you may say Bayern Munich is bigger than them, but it takes the coach who understands the game to put players and the tactics in place to win a club like that. So it's a good one for him, and we can only wish him the best.
Good one for Vincent Kompany. I wish him all the best. Before we leave, we can tell you that Victor James Osimhen is our sports extraordinaire for today's edition of the show, because the forward inched his name in the history book as the first Galatasaray player to score in 7 consecutive European games with his brace against Bodo Glimt in the UEFA Champions League. Basi, truly deserving, you want to say for Victor Osimhen?
Yeah, of course, deserving. He's trying to dismantle the records of an African player in Turkey, not just in Galatasaray, in the whole of Turkey. And we are backing him, we are supporting him. He's our hero, he's our ambassador. He's the biggest player right now we have from Nigeria, if not for Africa. So whatever he does should be commendable, because this will pave the way for other younger African players in Europe.
All right, Mr. Basi, this is where we might, I'm going to drop the anchor for this weekend edition of the show, but I want to appreciate you for finding time out of your busy schedule to join us on this weekend edition of the show.
All right, thank you very much. From here, I'm going straight to the Gosila Fabio Stadium, where Rivers United, of course, will be taking on Blackpool of Mozambique, and of course, we can only pray that they win, because they're the only representative we have at the moment, and they need to win this one. Just by 2-1 reply goals to make sure they progress to national competition.
All right, I did a show this evening alongside Basi Ibiatesoko, a renowned sports journalist based in the city of Uyo, out there in, of course, Akwa Ibom. My name is Emmanuel Michael, the Prime Minister of the Airwaves, and I'm saying have a beautiful weekend ahead. We'll make a return on Monday by 7 to 8 a.m. for yet another glorious show of Sport Talk here. We are saying Have a nice weekend ahead.